Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is finals day here at the CEVO Season 8 Pro League LAN Finals, MLG Arena here in Columbus, Ohio. I am Sir Scoots. I am joined once again by the two angels, or what is affectionately known as the package.
Yes.
Richard Lewis, Thorin. Gentlemen, how are you doing this morning?
I mean, it's an exciting day for the players, Scott. This is the day when you make all the money. Personally, I can't relate. That's every day for me.
Matt Skrilla, all day, every day.
Yeah, all day. And for me, obviously looking forward to what has already been a crazy tournament. Lots of upsets here. And is it going to pan out the way we think? Maybe there's a few more twists and turns. Maybe Titan could even get to a final despite having played fairly poorly throughout and consistently proving me wrong in my predictions.
And we talked about it at breakfast, like not just this event, but the last major. Like what is happening with Counter-Strike? Lots of upsets, a lot of shaking up the norm of the teams that are supposed to win and not lose.
It's very strange, actually. I don't know if there's been actually some sort of mechanical meta shift. I don't know if it's about sort of just the teams kind of put so much in terms strategically towards a major and maybe, there's some sort of battle supremacy like that. I don't know if it's a case of some people are already thinking about roster changes in sort of that post-major aftermath. Who knows? But right now, we've got a very exciting scene where it seems that any of the top teams are capable of taking maps, if not series, off each other, and makes for great viewing, if terrible betting.
Yep. Well, one thing I've noticed, if you look at the major and you look here, so the major, tons of Cobble being played.
Yep.
This tournament, Train all the time. These were two maps where people stayed away from Cobble. Like, that's one of the reasons why when I used to say Fnatic are one of the best, I would say, but they still don't play it that often, because most people, when you saw Fnatic or you saw Virtus.pro, you were like, let's just ban Cobble, let's not even think about playing it. Yeah. It was the same with Train for a while. That was the most resistance I saw to any map, was from the lower level teams playing Train. Low level teams picking Train here. Everyone's picking Cobble. So I think in a way, one thing that's helped is that some of the low level teams have started to figure out what actually me and Fifth Lauren used to say all the time on the analysis desk, which is when you're the big underdog, it's in your benefit to try and get it to the custom map if it's one that the other team isn't like super good on. So you want to make it more of a wild card match. So actually start practicing those maps. Don't just practice Inferno and Mirage and Cash all day long and think you're going to win tournaments. You're not. These other teams are going to butch you on Inferno. So I actually think, I'm not sure that's like an all-encompassing theory, but I think it's got something to do, because I haven't seen as much of the customs as I have the last couple of tournaments. So I think it's helping a little bit.
That makes sense. You brought up the money they're here to play for. Let's take a look at that. We've obviously booked some money for some teams. Again, a grand total of $100,000 on the line prize purse, as well as about $50,000 or so was used for travel support. These teams either got stipends or had their ways paid to get to the event, so that's also nice for the organizations. But again, you can see Dignitas, Luminosity, Liquid, Na'Vi, how they finish. Everyone takes home a little bit of money, even the 7th and 8th placers. But obviously now today is the big day. $40,000 first place, 25 grand, 10-10, all on the line. Again, good stuff here. Virtus.pro is the defending champion. They will be our first match today, taking on Titan. But let's go ahead and also look at the schedule so you guys kind of see what's going on all day. As I just said, Virtus.pro Titan. But also after that, Mouse Sports takes on definitely the Cinderella story out of this one, the dark horse, the craziest 20 fans in esports were here last night with them all night long. And they're back. They're back early. Did you guys not get any sleep either? Oh, crazy. Who needs sleep? So that's great stuff. Again, maybe we can fill a stadium full of these kids for a major in North America one day.
Just a quick word about the crowd, because we dropped it very late last night, and I was very surprised to see people on social media complaining about the crowd. There were some representatives or fans of Dignitas that were complaining about the crowd. Just to put this out there so it's absolutely factual, it's absolutely understood. This crowd was super respectful of Dignitas. Every time Dignitas walked out here, they applauded them. Every time Dignitas won a round, they gave him gentle applause. There's nothing wrong with rooting for the home team. We need more people like these guys in esports come into events and fly in the flag. So anyone out there criticizing these guys are idiots, frankly.
There you go. All right, let's kind of walk you through the groups. If you're just kind of joining us, bring you up to speed of the last couple days. So taking a first look at Group A, and again, these were GSL-style groups, meaning basically win 2 and you're out, lose 2 and you're out. Thorn, why don't you kind of walk us through Group A?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, you started off with Team Liquid Dignitas. You thought, okay, maybe there's a chance here. Liquid gets a nice little upset. They looked like they're in good form recently. Dignitas looked in terrible form. People think they're going to break up. Yep. Didn't matter for them. They won 2-0, convincing in some ways. Then we had Virtus.pro Conquest. This should have been the biggest mismatch of the whole tournament. Champions in the last one, the team we just squeaked in and no one expected anything of. Amazingly, Conquest took a map, Inferno, didn't take the map as in the win it, but they took it and made it very close. Went overtimes, really interesting match that kind of was setting the seeds for what would happen later. So Virtus.pro went into the final, played Dignitas there. Amazingly, Dignitas made it competitive, won train against Virtus.pro. But VP's through, as expected, #1 seed. So in the lower bracket, Liquid had to play Conquest. This should have been easy for Liquid. This should have been, okay, if they're really the #1 team in NA, you got to take care of home court, as it were, you know. They didn't. They lost 0-2, went out the tournament without a map win. Conquest got a nice little upset win there, went up to play Dignitas. Now, when you see Dignitas has just taken a map off VP, you're thinking, okay, there's got to be a good win for Dignitas here. All 3 maps were really competitive. It was going right down to the wire, and in the end, Conquest are the ones who take it. So they're the ones coming out in second place here. Kind of a surprise, but already top 4, and then looking to potentially make an upset and make the final, perhaps.
I think what's great about that Conquest Dignitas game, and like we've had some amazing series here at the CEVO finals, but that is what's really telling is the mental strength that, you know, Conquest, you've got to give them credit for having. So when Team Dignitas had them, when Conquest kind of had them on the ropes, looked like they were going to take that second map, you know, went to OT, and then, okay, then it's 3-0. Okay, now they're going to get blown out in overtime. They didn't. Conquest battle back, force another overtime, then it's 3-0, battle back again. You know, they constantly dug in, and then you think after they lose that map, maybe they're going to throw it away on cash. Didn't. Dug in, won it. I mean, this is like that was an amazing series, but that's an amazing story. There's top-level teams that don't have that mental fortitude, so you've got to give absolute credit. Conquest deserved to be here today.
No, I mean, once you've been to those high levels of the OTs, you might end up being left a wreck when it comes to the next map. But enough about Scientology.
Yeah, nice. Group B, let's show you that as well.
How are your feet?
Yeah, obviously it takes 2 groups to make this happen. Same thing, Duncan, walk us through Group B.
So yeah, we started out Titan Luminosity. Luminosity so hot at the major. Titan absolute dead weight at the major once they got past that first win. So you thought here they'd have a chance maybe things could get it together. Luminosity actually looked convincing here. They won even on Titan's map, 2-0. Then we had Na'Vi Mouse Sports. I mean, these are 2 teams who made the top 4 of the last tournament. Na'Vi, obviously, a favourite to win the whole tournament, but they get 2-0'd by Mouse Sports and on 2 of their best maps. So immediately Mouse Sports turning around the misfortune of coming last place at the major, showing us they got something here. Then in the lower bracket match, Titan play Na'Vi. Now, back in earlier 2015, this would have been the final of a smaller tournament. But no, one of them's going out of the tournament. You're thinking, surely it's got to be Titan here. They've got 2-0 by Luminosity. Na'Vi is this really great team in the world. No, Titan somehow, we don't know how, tripped over, slipped, pulled something, and got a 2-0 out of nowhere. So they're going up into the losers match there. In the final, the winners match, Luminosity played Mouse Sports. Again, if Luminosity's on this heater and Mouse Sports haven't been that convincing, you just think, okay, this should be a backup forwards. If any series should be a 2-1, it should be this. But actually, Luminosity kind of gave that one up a little bit. We didn't show that on stream, but that was the disappointing one from them. They lose Mouse Sports clean 4-map streak into first spot, so they're in the semi-finals. And then in the decider match, Luminosity Titan, again, a rematch of the first game we did. This time, Titan manages to steal it 2-1. I have to say, but for the 2 teams that went out in 3rd place from each of the groups, we had Luminosity from Group B and Group A, it was Dignitas. They both had a player each who played really well in nearly all the matches despite the losses. Luminosity had Cold Zero, who really was fantastic player, very good stats at the end of the tournament. Likewise, AZ for Dignitas, almost every game he showed up. But both of these teams were like good early on, and then the problem is they faltered just in the last match, pretty much.
A couple of quick points. Just about Titan and their run. I mean, look, I was sort of ripping on Titan all day. I'm still not convinced. I don't like Shox as an in-game leader. You're never going to sell me on that idea. I don't like him as a secondary AWP. You're never going to sell me on that idea. But what I will say is Titan were winning games somehow, despite the fact that they weren't playing particularly well. And yes, every map, it took some spectacular performance. You had RPK, roll back the years, went absolutely ham to get them to this stage today. That's what it took. You had Smiths before it, making 1v3 clutches, doing super intelligent things with a Molotov. So I'm still not entirely sold on Titan. The real thing is Mouse Sports have won it clean. They've been the best team here in a way. They haven't dropped a single map. They've got through. And when you consider how disappointing they were at the major, this is a real stark contrast day and night. So I think Mouse Sports are definitely the ones to watch.
Yeah, I also think Mouse actually, well, remember, they were in the harder group.
Yeah,
it should have been
exactly
the one.
right.
It should have been that group where it was the 2-1s all the time, and they're the ones who just clean swept through. Meanwhile, VP had what was supposed to be the easy group, And actually, they were struggling even with Conquest on a map, and then they got map taken off by Dignitas. So suddenly, all the rankings feel like they've been turned on their head, upside down, jumbled up right now, and it makes some really interesting semis.
And I still think Luminosity should have been here today. If it wasn't for RPK, that would have been the case.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the finals bracket. Again, we have 2 matches left before we get to our final. And as you guys have already talked about, Virtus.pro taking on Titan. That'll be our first match. We're going to dive deep into that. And then the second match, Mouse Sports versus Conquest. And in talking to the Mouse Sports guys, they came a day early. So a little extra sleep on their jet lag, a little, get over the travel, because obviously they were at the major too, so they only a couple days at home.
Bit of relaxation in the spa.
Yeah, a little spa time, and then I think their secret weapon is Jägermeister. They've got this ritual now that when they win, they all do a shot of Jaeger. And
so Fnatic has Olaf Meister, but Mouse has Jägermeister.
And so far, so good. I mean, maybe that's the motivation that Christian needed to give his team. Pay me, give me drinks if I win. And I even heard like some of the fans were like drinking with them afterwards, like there was extra Jaeger. So
all
shave
over
some for
18,
me, Mouse Sports, if you win this time.
18 in America, 21. I don't know the rules there. I do what I want.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't know the rules.
I am the law.
So we're obviously going to dive deep into both these matches. We're going to first go to an interview. We've got Pat, who's going to talk to Shox and Taz, and then we'll come back and we'll start breaking down that first matchup. Pat, take it away.
So much, and I'm standing here with the team captains, actually, the new in-game leader for Team Titan, which is Shox, and of course, you know him, you love him, Taz from Virtus.pro. First off, Shox, you we learned that you just took over in-game leadership for the team, and just now talking a few moments ago, you said you took over 1 day ago, so it's pretty much a new role for you right here at this event. How's it shaping up for the team so far?
Pretty good, I would say. I mean, yesterday we showed like pretty good things against Luminosity and Navi, so I'm really happy. I still think like we have a better option to do good thing in a short period of time if we continue like this. We just don't have to play like the first day, which was really crappy.
Now, your team's had quite a lot of roster changes over the course of this season. You did the big, massive trade up with NBS, and now you've got Scream working on the team. And for a while, he was changing his style, and then in a recent interview, he revealed he went back to that tappy kind of style. So how's it feel to be working with basically the whole VG roster?
Really nice, because we are like old friends since few years now. But I think we didn't really have we didn't have the experience to just perform well, because to fit the players with their roles, and we are trying to do it more and more, and I'm really I trust in the future.
Now, it's been a tournament of upsets so far, and you guys are certainly coming in as the underdogs with the trades, and maybe a less than stellar performance over at the majors. So far, it's looked really good. How do you feel going up against the reigning champions of Virtus.pro?
Really good. I always love to play against VP, except in Katowice in 2014, which was really bad for us. But yeah, it's like old friends, and I love play them and their play style. So I really think we can do something good.
Awesome. Well, now Taz, you're coming back as the reigning champions from last time around. You came in what looked like it was going to be the easier group. It turned out to be just a little bit tougher than expected. You faced off against Conquest. That went into double overtime. Can you talk a little bit about that game?
Man, I think that Conquest will be in the final. I just feel it.
You feel it? We've got the fanboys right here cheering the team on. VP or Titan versus Conquest. Wouldn't that be absolutely amazing? Let's see. That was such a close game that you ended up playing. I got a question for you. Why are you so good on Train?
You need to ask TSM about it, Conquest, and Dignitas, why we are so good, man. Because I don't know. I don't feel good.
He doesn't feel good. He doesn't feel good, but you've been wrecking. So you got to be feeling super confident coming in here tonight. You played against this team over at the major. Do you think that's going to be a repeat?
I don't know. I feel that we are still looking for something. We lost the magic we had. I think that Titan is in the same position where they are looking for how they want to play, and it's going to be intense game. Maybe it can be like 2-0, like destroying one team or another. But yeah, I don't know what to expect from the game, really.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here. That's Taz, Shox. Guys, thanks so much. Good luck, and we'll be right back after this.
up above the clouds. Shelter me under.
All right, folks, it is time for match one, our first semifinal. Titan taking on Virtus.pro. Once again, I am Sir Scoots, joined by Thorin and Richard Lewis. Gentlemen, let's get right into it. Virtus.pro, defending champions of CEVO Season 7, make it to the quarterfinals of the major. Titan, quite the opposite at the majors, did not get out of groups. Initial thoughts before we get into maps, before we get into matchups.
I mean, world rankings, obviously, there's a big difference between the two. Virtus.pro is still considered one of the elite teams, a favorite for every tournament they enter. It's been a long time since Titan were considered a favorite. Even making top 4 here is actually pretty good when you look at the field. They've done a decent job so far. You look at the form coming into the tournament, yeah, VP struggled a little, but they were never really in danger of losing those series. Titan has really struggled back and forwards, and somehow they've scraped their way into this position. So at the moment, it's still a massive uphill challenge facing the Titan guys.
And speaking of Richard, speaking of Titan, Richard, you want to walk us through their lineup?
Certainly. So on the left, you can see obviously we've got Scream, the man that in the past has been known as the human aimbot, somebody who has this very easy on the eye style, in the sense that he only likes to go for those headshots and that tap aim. Not always the most effective, but when it works, it's wonderful to watch. And there's a lot of extra weight put on those broad shoulders today as he goes up against Virtus.pro. Then you've got Smith, somebody who is the kind of go-to AWPer on the team. Tellingly, you will notice that his best weapon has been the AK-47. That might be something worrying there. Shox has had to pick up the AWP lately, but as Smith is the kind of a weak link in the chain, but he played very, very well yesterday. That's got to be said. Shox sat in the middle. Yes, he is the in-game leader. Yes, I've already said this is crazy. I just can't get my head around why they would do this. But he is one of the greatest players to have ever played the game. No doubt about it. Incredibly talented. I just think he's shackling his natural talent by taking on all this extra responsibility in the team. Then you've got the former in-game leader next to him on the right, Existence, a legendary playbook manager. I've always said his reinvention from being a flamboyant AWPer to one of the greatest brains in Counter-Strike history is one of the most incredible transformations in the history of any esport. However, now that he's been relieved of in-game leading duties, what's he doing in terms of the scoreboard? Turns out he did have his moments yesterday, but still generally not a great deal. And then the last player on the right there, it is the legendary Counter-Strike Source Rifler, somebody who was one of the most decorated players in the game, certainly the best rifler in the history of the game, and who won the most MVPs. Never really replicated that success in CSGO, although he was a very good player right at the start. Now he went off in a big way yesterday to get Titan here, and he did show signs of that actually at the major as well. If he can get back into that kind of Counter-Strike Source form, Titan are always going to be in with a chance for game, because he used to carry Very Games, the best team in Source history.
All right, thank you very much. And on the other side of the coin, we're going to bring up the Virtus.pro graphic, but I just noticed some. What is this?
What do you mean? I'll save that for later.
Are you going to save it for later? Well, why don't you walk us through Virtus.pro again? You talk about historical stuff with Titan. There's some history here that goes back decade plus with some of these guys.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the two guys. So the guy in the middle, Neo, was one of the best players ever in 1.6, and he's a guy where it's not like he was just in one particular period. He had his peak. Really, once he got on the world scene around 2004, it wasn't long before he was considered the best player, and then we're talking about the next half a decade. He's just in that position where he's constantly a top 5 player, MVP awards, very, very consistent player, great all-round player. Then the guy to his right, so second from the right overall, Taz, which is always his partner in crime. Initially, interesting story is that when they made the team that became the really good one for them, that what had made the team good is that Neo and Taz, from what I remember, were the ones I think were always against each other, and they wanted to beat each other. And then when they sort of combined forces for the super team, they managed to transcend the domestic differences there and become a great international team. So Taz, not also like Neo, not really known as a star player in this game. It's more making up the numbers in terms of like filling in the gaps for the other younger, more inexperienced stars, knowing what you need to do in a team to be a successful unit. Very good on train, which you'll always see played for Virtus.pro season unless it's banned. So keep your eye out there. That is one map where he will show some particular spark. To his right is Snacks, the best player in this modern era of the team. We thought Pasha was supposed to take the reins over as the best player from Neo, but actually in CSGO it's really been about Snacks. He's in some ways, not to the same degree, the Neo of CSGO. Like, he's a very well-rounded player, very good intuitive sense for the game, and the team's based around how he plays, and he has been playing well here. Then we go all the way to the left is Pasha, very flamboyant character, obviously loved for his streaming antics, but he showed us on day 2, very good game against Conquest to ensure that they could 2-0 that series. He's obviously an aggressive rifler. He's someone very confident in his abilities. I mean, he actually thinks if he plays someone like Olafans, he thinks he should win the 1v1. So, very interesting character, certainly. To his right, Bialy, I think the one player who didn't really show up for me yesterday. He should be this aggressive, powerful rifle entry guy where, I mean, for a start off, it says there, M4A4 was his best weapon. In an ideal world, Bialy's best weapon should be the AK. That's when he's at his best. So that kind of shows he's had his difficulties here overall, because I think when Bialy's on fire, that's when I very rarely see Virtus.pro lose a game. That's when you add him in, Snacks is always going to be there. Then you take your pick, give you Pasha or Neo, suddenly you've got this force, this band of people who are just going to rampage over you.
All right, and again, like you bring up the historical lineup, and I know when we always talk about old school CS, we were talking about the other night, like you start talking about what was the greatest match you ever saw, what was one of the greatest matches, and like the versions of that core lineup end up being, like, you know, you can trigger Karn instantly by going, hey, I was China that one year, right?
Yeah.
He just loses his mind.
Yeah.
So again, the pedigree is again, much like the other greats that have moved forward, like they're starting to show it in this game.
Well, the thing is, that's what made them great in 1.6. They're a very different lineup there. They're more skill-heavy in CSGO. But one thing that's carried over from both games is they've both been kind of catalysts, the 1.6 and the CSGO lineups, for some of the best matches ever, just because of the style of play. Like in 1.6, they really had to be like hard carried by Neo, but then have a great team play around him. In CSGO, they have an incredible dominating style, but that T-side's got to be hitting. And so when it is, you see these matches against NIP, these matches against TSM. So anyway, we're into the veto now.
Yep.
The initial part of the veto, not much of a surprise. Dust 2 is always VP's ban. It's also one of the Titans' best maps. On Titans' side of the equation, they don't want to play Mirage. It's famously an extremely good Virtus.pro map.
Solid ban.
First pick Train here is fairly obvious for Virtus.pro. It's actually been a decent map for Titan recently, but VP are incredible on that map. Cobble pick for Titan, that's just been what they've been picking throughout the series. It's what they were picking at the major, that's what they want to play. I think that's dangerous, mind. And then the third map coming to Inferno. Now here's the thing, for both teams, this is kind of like a questionable one, but not so bad, I think, if you're Titan. Bearing in mind, this could have come up as Overpass. That would have been a nightmare. So I actually think Titan have slightly gotten, just from their side of things, a decent map draw. This isn't so bad. But if you're looking at the VP side, they can win all three of these maps. They're probably even going to be a favorite on Cobble. I don't really see why you'd say they wouldn't be. So just the maps alone are telling me it should be a 2-0, actually.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I mean, you know, the ban's definitely not a surprise. The picks, not a surprise from Virtus.pro. You know, Train has been an incredible map for them. Titan picking Cobble, it makes sense. It's the map they feel strongest on. They've had results here. It's statistically one of their strongest maps for this particular lineup. But here's the problem. Virtus.pro only lose to godlike teams on Cobble. They only lose to Fnatic in the Fnatic era where Fnatic beat everyone on Cobble.
Yeah, and just to catch up on that, to add to you, Titan has played it quite a bit here.
Yep.
They 16-10 to Luminosity on it. They then lost that, obviously, and fell down, but then they played Na'Vi on it. They 16-12 them, and then again, against when they played Luminosity again, they lost it 11-16.
Yeah.
So two wins and a loss.
Luminosity are not even a Cobble team in the same way Virtus.pro are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they lost it on that one.
On the first one, though.
Yeah, that's
oh, yeah, so they've lost 2-1 once.
Yeah, so this is what I mean. So Luminosity aren't even a great Cobble team. They went into that probably thinking, well, we're going to see what happens. And what happened was they were capable of beating Titan on it. Now, obviously, Luminosity, you know, maybe that's a play style they're not used to. Titan might feel more comfortable against Virtus.pro, but as I said, Virtus.pro only lose to elite level teams on Cobble. They are always super competitive on this map. That's why I think Duncan's assessment of a 2-0 is on point. That's what I'm feeling right now. I think they've maybe missed the trick with the veto.
They also actually played this exact matchup on Train at the major. This was the match where RPK essentially lost the whole game for them with a 2v2 by killing his teammate, then being in a 1v1, and then dying to that guy. I think it might be Snacks who was there. So that'll definitely be in RPK's mind when he
you
plays
want to
the
talk
game.
about getting triggered?
Yeah, and now we talked about player matchups, and we normally grab the star player or like the superstars, but we went the opposite way with this one. Richard, walk us through these two picks.
Okay, so obviously it's incredibly boring for the people at home when we just keep picking out star players, and it's not just about star players. Counter-Strike is about people who pull their weight. So this is the thought process behind this head-to-head. So on the left, obviously, you've got Bialy, the entry fragger for Virtus.pro. He's had a very quiet showing out here at this tournament, and I feel he needs to sort of step that up as they get deeper and deeper into it. On the right, you've got Scream. I've talked a lot about him. I'm still not sold about the idea of him being a great player. I would love to see him reinvented for this Titan side as an entry fragger. He's got that one bullet aim, but he just doesn't seem to have that personality. I think he needs to be nudged more into that role for them to get effective. Because the one problem they had on T side, especially on Cobble, by the way, which they're going to play obviously, is their executes are poor and they weren't making those entries. They were struggling on the T side. So these two people have both very similar jobs in the sense that they've got to be the aggressive guys that can open things up for their team if their teams are going to get some serious T-sided rounds on the board. Very different personalities though. Bialy is super confident. He will go for the entry frag and lose, and he'll just go again and again and again. And he'll just assume in his mind that something must have gone wrong because he's always expecting to win the aim duels, even when he's in a slump. Meanwhile, Scream doesn't seem to have that level of ego, doesn't seem to have that level of brashness that I think you need if you want to be a truly great competitor and occasionally entry fragger. So I think this is a really interesting matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between the two is Bialy almost has like a hard-headedness about the way he entries. Like, it's that he doesn't understand that anyone who's on the other side of the aim duel should be able to beat him in the duel. Whereas obviously, yeah, he's a fantastic player, but there's many players who are skilled as Bialy or who on CT side get the better position and they're going to win that duel. So it's good to have that in your entry fragger. You want him to really believe if I go to this spot again and again, I can get the entries, because if your entry fragger gives up, that's when the team's going to be really ruined on the T side. Scream instead, I always feel like Scream doesn't even consider the other player. He thinks he's playing against himself. I know how good my aim is. If I can get my shot and I can line it up, I'll hit the shot and I'll win. So very different mentality in that sense. Bialy's going against this particular guy. Scream's trying to play against himself. But I do think Bialy is always a key to the Virtus.pro mode. That when he's on fire, when he's really got that, Scoots, you ready for this?
Yes.
That aim from Poland.
Look at
Got
that.
from Virtus.pro.
Yeah, yeah.
See, nothing but love.
When he's got that sick AK going, that's when their T-side's out of control. They're always going to have a very good T-side. That's going to be one of the problems.
Sorry, you've read it wrong. It says stay away from Poland. Sorry, mate.
Okay.
Oh, you ruined
That's
it.
a
You
shame.
ruined a beautiful
It's
moment.
okay.
It's all right.
Lucky for them, it turned out to be my plan anyway, mate. So,
All right, so
they
let's,
knew after all. It was me after all, Austin. It was me after all.
let's talk a little bit about Pasha.
Yeah, Pasha is a guy where I think you've seen with Pasha, as his form's gone up and down, that's where VP's dropped levels. Like, they were at one point in time contending for the title of best in the world when they won that first major for them. It was the second major overall, Katowice 2014 March. Almost referenced that earlier on with that little band. And then he was the guy where he was the MVP probably at that point in time.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. He really reinvigorated a new era of Virtus.pro. They won the major. They were right up there with Nip trying to be the best. But he was consistent, but then later on in the years, he dropped a little bit. They just became like a team where it's like, yeah, okay, you can pencil them in for the semi-final, but how will they do there? It'll be tough. Like the right opponent, maybe they could get to a final, but you weren't going to think they would win many events. Coming into this year, his form dropped a little bit again because now his AWPing started to really take a hit, and the team wasn't working that well around him. We heard like rumors of like infighting, and some people felt like, well, we've built the whole team around Pasha, and if he's not playing well, you know, eventually you can't be selfish about that. If you're not playing well, you have to give something up. You have to give something back to the team. They were struggling a little bit. They dropped a little bit more. It was really the Fnatic Envious era. But now they've reinvented him. They've taken him and said, right, you're a rifle-only player now. We're going to give the AWP over to Neo. Don't worry about AWPing. Just play your aggressive rifle style. Let him do what he wants, but only with a rifle. And we've seen, I think that's helped Pasha. It's helped Neo a bit, and it's helped the team in general, because now they've got a bunch of good riflers, and they have the AWP when they need it. They don't need it that often because they are a T-side aggressive entry team, so it's not like they need to set up these crazy picks or win dominant CT sides. So I think they found the right mix for not having to make a roster change. It's very rare you can not make a roster change and get right back to the top again, which this team's done.
Again, you know, we talked about Neo, and certainly in the old days. Talk about Neo now.
I mean, the thing is, Neo now is very much an entirely different player to me. Now he's a player where one of the key things about him in 1.6, the reason why he was not only the best player in a period and for a couple of years, but for like half a decade or like 6 or 7 years, is because even when he was on top, the one quality he had that almost no other great player had is he never stopped practicing. He would always be putting his practice in. Even if they missed an event, he'd keep his form up, he'd keep playing pogs, he'd play stand-in for people, he'd play team from other countries, he'd watch demos. He's a guy where he always like kept the craft of being the best alive. And that's what has allowed him in CSGO to have a career. Because in CSGO, he had a lot of issues early on in terms of his raw skills. He didn't fit a lot of the aspects of the game that were working before. And he was so brilliant in 1.6 that his style didn't work when he didn't have the fantastic individual skills. But the thing about Neo that you have to understand is he's never stopped working even in CSGO. Even in CSGO, when he's had these slumps, he's not as good. He's watched every demo, he's watched everything. He's the guy where players always tell me, if I watch a Neo demo, I'll learn a new flash, a new smoke, I'll learn a timing on something, and I'll be like, well, I didn't even know that was possible. Even like in-game leaders have told me this. So that means this guy for sure is putting in mad hours to try and get some edge, because he knows, right, I'm not going to have the edge in an aim duel anymore. I'm not the Neo 1.6. But if I have like a trick flash, or if I have a smoke that gets my team an entry into the site, that's how I can help them win the game. So that's where you can see like the passion and the drive that made him number one before. It's not making him number one now, but it's making his team potentially a number one team.
Gotcha. And again, now we see the real poll. I think when that poll first came up, it hadn't been populated yet. It was 80% for Titan, 20% for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, the Polish guys are woke up
Yeah, now
Come
it's
on.
getting a little bit more even. So with that poll
there we
on
go.
screen, go ahead and give me your predictions and final thoughts on this matchup.
Oh,
We'll go
you
to you
first.
last. You go first, Steph, for the predictions.
I'm thinking Virtus.pro will win 2-0 because I think Train should very much be their map. I know that they lost it to Dignitas, but Dignitas showed their own little flair on Train, so I think there's more to that story maybe than we've seen. And it was getting late in the day. This is the first match. Titan is not a team that wants to play Train. They definitely don't want to play it against Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro is a very explosive T-side, so I'm expecting a big win on Train. And then on Cobble, I still think of that as a Virtus.pro map. I don't think of it as a Titan map. I know it's the new era and they're trying to make it one of their best. I've seen some weaknesses there, especially because their T-side game still is not refined. Virtus.pro will kill you on T-side. So I think Virtus.pro is going to win this series 2-0.
Okay.
Yeah, 2-0 for me as well. I think Cobble will be competitive, but I think the French heroics have run out at this point. Virtus.pro all the way.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Again, first map is Train. Walking you through this matchup is going to be CEVO and Misled. Gentlemen, take it away.
Guys, so much. Hopefully you guys are ready for finals today. Good matchup coming right off the bat. Virtus.pro versus Titan. We're going directly into Train here, and you have to think, I agree with him downstairs. Going on Train right off the bat, that's not going to bode well for Titan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Titan's got their work cut out for them. Virtus.pro is one of the best teams in the world on Train. They've got a lot of innovative strategies, a lot of heavy smoke usage. We'll talk about that later as we see it underway. Pistol round is already happening, and speaking about smokes, there's the first one popping in for Z Connector. Check out the screen working this one-way smoke and spamming through. Not going to find any kills because Virtus.pro worked their way through upper, and Bialy on outer yard, creating a little bit of a distraction. He's not going to be able to find any kills, but he pulls one rotator out through Z Connector, and then they're all going to come out through Pop Dog.
It was a great strat to start with. I mean, they had smokes outside. They were wrapping this back inside. And they're ending up just getting caught out now. Pasha, last one left. He's going against 4 players from Titan, and Titan just locks that down. They pulled those smokes outside. They pulled everybody from the inside bomb site all the way up through Z Connector, and they started to go back down. Only one player was left. He pushed into the upper halls, ended up catching 2, and they had to back up, tried to go back down through the ladder, and it got completely blown up because everybody from Titan was still outside.
Yes, indeed. We've got round 2 coming up underway. Let's see how the buys are looking. Virtus.pro buying up relatively aggressively after that, trying to keep the economy for Titan nice and low. You got a bunch of Eagles, one SG in hand. Positionally, they're setting up for something out A, but watch for Shocks. He's already pushed out, sneaking around the corner on the right. Pasha might check the angle. He's looking to his right. That's exactly what he needs to do. Missed the firefight. Shocks able to pick up the trade, and Bialy also down. We have a huge man advantage already in favor of Titan.
Yeah, Shock's going down to 34 HP to collect that. We have people working outside now. Snacks is going that direction. Neo inside. Him and Taz both split up pretty well. Taz back towards the halls. He's going to try and find something, actually working his way out. T-Con picks up the bomb, drops back. But Neo has a good grip of information inside. Already pushed through upper. We'll get a scout headshot on the Smith. He's going to turn it into a 2-on-4 now, as Taz is going to go try and rotate with the bomb. Loses his teammate Taz in a tough position. 1v4, only 14 HP, has the bomb on his back. RPK right below him. He's going to climb right up the ladder. Scout shot goes down, but RPK will collect the frag. Titan's going to be up 2-0.
Yeah, I think that run was huge because of the way Shaq just opened up, pushing out aggressively and remaining undetected. He won that first firefight. Looked like Pasha was watching the corner very closely. He was ready for it. Gets taken out. The real tragedy of that is that Bialy also got taken down. So you start the round immediately 5-3, and just like that, Titan takes nice early on momentum. Virtus.pro economically wrecked so far. That's fine. We'll have a good gun round going into round number 4. Virtus.pro focusing on A.
Yeah, if they would have been able to get a bomb plant in that first round, I think they had the best shot there after they assumed everyone was going to rotate back. Oh, yeah, he's going to push up on Snacks. Snacks does have the bomb. Out on an island right now. You can see RPK already coming up the ramp below him. They're going to get the flank off. Not that it matters. Just a touchdown grenade comes through from Shocks. He was going to try and go back in that direction, see if he can find anything, as the rest of his teammates are kind of getting bombed up now. I mean, only Bialy and Pasha are left. bomb down in the halls, and Pasha and Bialy in a tough spot here. Smith and Scream are onto him. RPK is going to be watching from behind, and Shock's going to go on the big flank here. They should both get caught relatively easy, and they do. Smith and Screams will get them. That'll be 3 rounds for Titan, but Virtus.pro will go on to the bye in this next one.
Shocks is such a good player. I mean, he's one of these guys who floats around all different sites, all different sort of locations, and he seems to be at the right place at the right time. That time around, he pushes all the way up towards B and effectively cancels Virtus.pro's trap. They're going to do some sort of a heavy A hit with the bomb single-handedly lurking outside of B. That way they have some options, and then by finding the bomb that early, round is canceled. We have our first gun round underway. Virtus.pro, AK-47s in hand and rolling through upper.
Yeah, all of them going through Whitehall is getting aggressive. Only RPK to contend with if they decide to push into the site. Pasha's going to be watching the ladder. He's going to start moving his way forward now, too. And let's see where they're going to work with this. They slowed down quite a bit. That'll pull Scream in from outside. And Shock's already super aggressive out there. And he's got a lot of information pushed up in mid. Here comes the smokes and flash. He's going to try and work their way down the ramp to the site. RPK doing what he can to prevent. He's going to push right through the smoke. Doesn't even get a single one out of it with the FAMAS. And gun round starts off well for Virtus.pro.
But look at Existence right there, working his way around the smoke just as VP, Bialy backs off into the corner, and Neo's going to be extremely low on health, gets the spray down, takes one, and now look at Smith with this tappy-tappy style, gets a long range, flips over to the right, and wipes Pasha out. We're suddenly in a 1v1 with Smith. Beautiful, drops the smoke. He's going to go ahead and probably stick the defuse. 10 seconds remaining, tries to stick it, gets sprayed down by Taz. Huge play, first round on the board for Virtus.pro.
Virtus.pro had the advantage inside the B bomb site. They end up getting all 3 members alive from Titan to rotate in. One was right at the front of the bomb train, one was run behind it, and one was all the way in the back lanes. And Pasha ended up working his way back through Z from the position he was above ladder, takes outside, comes through, and he should have had Smith dead to the right there. Smith turns around, catches him from the side anyways, forces it into a one-on-one, and Taz just got the good spray down through the smoke to not let Titan defuse that. Otherwise, that could have been a horrendous round for Virtus.pro.
Well, that's always important to win the first gun round. We've got decent economy for Titan. They've got a full buyout with 2 AWPs, one in the hands of Shocks, one in the hands of Smiths. And they're set up for, looks like a B hit for Virtus.pro as they stream through. Lower, Smith's going to come up huge. No, not meant to happen at upper. Pushed up way too close with the op, and he gets overrun. Bombs going down at the B bomb site. Pasha getting into position with rotators through Z connector upper and back CT.
Oh, he actually slips his way right past back lanes. He's down in the CT spawn right now. He could have a huge flank on Shocks, but Shocks was aware of it. Ends up catching him with the op from behind. So now it's all up to Taz. 1v3, Scream, Existence, and we're going to have Shocks right there. He takes Shocks down. Screams in his face. Can he get another one? Can't do it. Scream ran right up that ladder and all the way in his face. And that will be a 4th round now for Titan when they get the defuse. And they prevent Virtus.pro from getting 2 in a row.
Yeah, way to effectively cancel the economies for Virtus.pro at that point. Titan just not letting go of any of that early on momentum. They got your pistol round, and then they immediately cancel that first gun round win in favor of Virtus.pro. This is not the type of start that we are accustomed to seeing with Virtus.pro. They're so incredibly strong on train, especially with their T-side executes. But if they can't get their economy underway, then the Virtus.plow effect is never going to happen, and that's a big part of Titan's goal.
Yeah, so because Virtus.pro couldn't get 2 in a row there, they're going to have to go into a pistol buy. Let's see what they do. A little bit more spread out. Neo actually goes back. Did he end up buying anything when he ran back? No, he did not buy anything, but he ran all the way back into the buy zone. That was a little interesting. Maybe he wanted to grab a flashbang or something, but didn't make it happen. So they're spread out now. And look at the aggressiveness that's coming out from Titan. They got Existence and Scream right there at the ladder. RPK down the site. Smith's pushed up aggressively. Shock's just watching Ivy, and it's working out. Smith will be able to get himself on the board with 2 frags this round as Taz going to be hanging out in the White Halls. Bialy's working back down through T-Con. He can have some trouble with Scream right there in his face, and Scream's got the rifle advantage, and Shocks ends up stealing it away from Ivy. So Taz, 1 versus 5 now, all by his lonesome.
Yeah, it's almost unwinnable at this point. Taz, I mean, what can you do at this point? You're completely isolated. Titan knows exactly where you are. Peeks the corner, he's just not able to go ahead and land that shot. That's fantastic. We now have another round win, and the economy for, oh, look at Pasha. Not happy with the results so far.
No, and the aggressiveness that we got to see there from Titan, they knew more than likely that was going to be an eco. They shouldn't have the economy to make anything happen, so upgraded pistols, and they got aggressive inside the B halls, and they just completely stopped Virtus.pro from being able to make their way through white halls down into the bomb site. They wanted to get a fast plant, and they just got shut down there in the halls, and then eventually pushed on. And again, Smith, super aggressive out through Ivy. He's going to be able to wrap his way all the way back around, and more than likely get behind Bialy, Snacks, and Neo. Pasha's over there. And Existence hiding in the smoke in the middle of the bomb site. Smiths, he better catch up. It doesn't matter. Existence and Shocks are getting frags of their own. And finally they get Existence. But here comes the flank from Smiths. He's going to work his way right out. See if he's able to find Neo. Doesn't catch him yet. Looking towards the bomb train. Able to find one. And look at the mop up coming from Titan. They're going to be able to get on that bomb, get the defuse. That'll make this 6-1 for Titan.
Yeah, that's so disappointing for Virtus.pro. I mean, they came out on a buy round with proper smokes, mollies, and they did one of their typical executes where they smoke everything off diagonally, get in a position, and then use all those different angles on train once you break into the site. But Titan tip to this. They've played Virtus.pro multiple times in the past. They've studied the demos, and they were able to counter effectively.
Going to work our way into round 8 now. Titan with a large advantage, and Virtus.pro looking like they want to force here, so it's going to be pistol. And some utility will be coming out. I mean, Neo's with a smoke, same with Pasha, but he does have a flashbang. Pasha, that is. They're going to go with some pistol play again. This time sending one towards Ivy. The other 3 going to be working towards inside, up in the halls. Now 4, and Smiths again. The aggressive play coming out from Titan.
That's
is paying
3 rounds
off.
now.
Yeah, I mean, you have Shocks over in that direction. Smiths is pushing his way out through Ivy. They're getting a ton of information. I mean, Smiths got all the way back around last time. Did it a little slow, but it ended up working out. As we're going to have Virtus.pro, the 4 alive, trying to work their way into B. Neo, first one down, not having too much luck. Thanks to RPK picking up 2.
Yeah, RPK tried to line him up and just not able to land the full spray down. It don't matter though. Taz with the last man standing, missing a couple of deagle shots. He's going to get pushed around the edge. And there's Smith celebratory spray down just to rub it in. This is amazing. Look at the scoreline right now. It's 7-1 at this point. Titan CT side. Okay, fine. Train is a CT sided map, but you are facing off against Virtus.pro, one of the strongest teams on this map. They have an incredible T side. This is not what you expect going into this. Keep in mind, Titan are your underdogs rolling through. In fact, the predictions from the analyst desk were all about Virtus.pro easy. Going to stomp tonight, and there you go.
I mean, we got Shocks and Smiths, both players. Shocks with 13 frags right now, and then Smiths with 11. They are absolutely holding it down for their team. RPK, the next closest one, was 6, and that's tied for the top fragger right now for Virtus.pro, and that's only Taz.
Yeah, look at Smiths. Getting aggressive again, working around the edge of the smoke, gets one. Pasha's able to go ahead and take Existence down, so the man advantage favors Virtus.pro, and now Pasha continuing forward. He's back to form. Smiths goes down. It is 2 versus 4. Scream all alone in the site. Goes for the spray down instead of the tappy, and Pasha's going to take the headshot champion's head right off, leaving RPK all alone.
Yeah, he's going to try and work his way up through the halls now and go towards the ladder. The only problem is Neo is going to be right there in that direction. Let's see if Neo goes for a repeat. He's ready for it. Here's him. Now RPK in trouble. Lines up the first shot. Got one more to try and beat. That's going to be Snacks, but he is 1v3. Pasha's going to be coming from inside to catch him. They do not want RPK to live with this gun. Let's see what Pasha ends up doing here. Does he look up in time? Because RPK is going to work his way all the way out. He should be able to get an angle. And Pasha now looking in that direction. They do not want him to keep this up at all. Pasha going right up below him. Taz will be working up through the ladder. Snacks is also coming from White Halls. So they're going to try and pinch here. And Pasha knows. He just wants to get the shot off. Gets around the corner. Has to spray a little too much. But he does collect it. That is Virtus.pro finally getting a second round in their favor. And that was very close at the end there.
I think a big thing is Pasha starting to kind of wake up and come back to life. Yesterday we saw Pasha doing absolutely amazing things. Then the day before, you and I were casting the game where Pasha gets 3 knife kills single-handedly. I think 2 of them ended up being on train. Super sneaky, super clutch plays. And once he gets warmed up, there's no stopping this guy.
So let's see if we have that aggression again at Ivy. No, it doesn't look like it. Smiths this time. Not going to go out through Ivy. Shocks is just going to play it pretty deep. And RPK, again, Lone Ranger inside that B bomb site. And we haven't really seen Virtus.pro try to exploit that too much. And here it is again, Scream, Existence, both pushing up on ladder thanks to those smokes. They're going to get in the face of anybody trying to work their way out. But Neo would be the only guy that would. And he's pretty much well committed to trying to watch anybody flanking from the inside bomb site.
Yeah, at this point, Titans, you're running out of utility. They've thrown almost all their smokes. All they're left with is 1 smoke and 1 molly. So 1 minute on the clock. Virtus.pro's in a really good position to make any execute they want. You see they've got 2 set up at Ivy, and they're setting up for a 3-way approach into a site. Snacks looking for the pick, looking for Titan to make any sort of mistake. Oh, nothing.
Let's see what we're going to have here with Pasha and Bialy. Possibly going to try and smoke that right side. Do they even have smokes at the moment? They have smokes, so they can make that right side smoke, try and take down Shocks, wrap their way through CT. And actually, no. Neo and Taz are both going towards outside, so they're not going to wrap through CT to the inside bomb side, but they're picking up the frags that they need. Existence is still going to be out there. He ends up going down at Hell, so Scream and RPK, last two left. RPK, this lone man, works his way out through Z. He gets cleaned up, and Virtus.pro, first time this game, gets 2 rounds in a row. That'll help build that economy, and they need to get the plow going now, and not let Titan run away with these rounds early.
Yeah, very simple play by Virtus.pro right there. Just sit outside, bait out all the utility, all the smokes from Titan, and then simply walking site, trading in. And they didn't even have to trade too much. They had a huge man advantage walking in thanks to those 2 initial picks. 7-3 is your score line, and the economy for Virtus.pro still looking solid, obviously. And Titan buying up, trying to keep it low. You see a FAMAS, 1 CZ75. Lots of utility though to hold them off.
Yeah, and again, we're going back to this default for Virtus.pro. There's going to be Snacks out in mid. Pasha Bialy trying to work Ivy. Taz and Neo were near inside. Taz actually backs his way up towards the ladder to make sure no one's going to be able to come up from there because they don't really have good sight on it with Snacks not actually out. And he's smoked off now, and he's just trying to get in his face. And it looks like Titan's onto this. It's just going to be whether or not Pasha and Bialy can make something happen again at Ivy to pull some people out into the middle of that bomb site to try and contest.
You see Shocks. He's got the molly in hand. Toss the incendiary. Just trying to hold off the push.
Oh, he's got to be careful.
Yeah, he's playing the super close angle, trying to play just at the edge of the smoke. Here comes Pasha. Is he going to check it? He does. And Shocks goes down. That's a nice opening pick for Pasha. Existence on top of the train. Spots him coming out by Pop Dog. Gets one. Gets shredded out quickly. And now 2 out main. And you have to worry about the players that Ivy Scream's in a terrible position. Gets the spray down on 1. And then he finally goes down.
That might be enough, though, for Scream. Sitting on that bomb site, able to do some damage. They work it down into a 2-on-2. You already see Smiths up close. RBK going to be trying to work his way down the ladder. Taz is getting flanked. He knows it. Snacks has to help his teammate out. He doesn't get there in time, so now he's going to be working around from Hell. Gets the first shot on the Smiths. Now he works it into a 1-on-1. RPK's right there at the bomb site. Can Snacks get in? Snacks will get the clutch. Gets the 1 versus 2. Virtus.pro now has a 4th round. And they're making some big waves now, getting money in the bank, even though in the rounds that they are winning, they're getting kind of close. You can see they're still not having to do an absolute ton of rebuys except for that round. I mean, that's 4 that you're going to have to make, so that'll whittle your economy down. They need to get some clean rounds from T-side, so if they do actually drop a round, they're not instantly into a save.
That's so important right there for Virtus.pro. Look at Neo. He's got an SMG in hand. I can't see what his economy currently is, but it's curious about that. Lots of utility going on in the Virtus.pro, in the pocket of Virtus.pro, as Titan. They're not going to stack any bomb sites whatsoever. They are going to rotate as soon as they see a flash, though. Trying to put a lot of pressure on lower. RPK comes up big.
Wow.
Gets 2. And that's going to hold him off. Existence, though, found all alone. He's got a deagle. If he can just land the wand, Deags, not meant to happen. Bialy closes it out, 7-5. We do have a much nicer scoreline, though. 7-5. Virtus.pro came back a little bit, and once they get their momentum and their economy back underway, we've got a fight on our hands.
Yeah, and one of the things here is, I just talked about it. We want clean rounds. If you're Virtus.pro, you need clean rounds right now, so you're not having to buy out. And as you can see, let's take a peek at that. Economy not the greatest. They're having to rebuy too much. Taz with the most frags on his team, only 9. He's only got $1,500 right now. He does have teammates that are decently set up. Neo's got 76, 4,700 on Bialy, Pasha with 37, 32 for Snacks. So I mean, it's not horrible, but you're going against an equaling team with just pistols. You need to come out alive and not have to do more than 1 rebuy to really give yourself a chance to have a lot of good money going forward.
Notice the double op setup going on for Virtus.pro. They've already got 1 pick, and that's Shock. Shock's been such a high-impact player. It's so important to get this one out of play. And we do have Smiths pushing up outside of Ivy, getting information as the bomb works its way towards B. We have 2 players in B bomb site. Problem is, Existence is in a terrible position to do the quick rotate, pushed up towards A main. So your players are completely isolated. If they execute now and execute fast, they can isolate RPK and Scream and smoke it off, deny the rotate. Here it comes.
Yeah, 5 men trying to work their way down inside that bomb site, but yeah, RPK and Scream right there at the bomb. They are going to get a couple trade out frags, but damage done. It will be a 3-on-2 now. Rotate's coming in. Smiths is going to be the first one into the back lanes. He gets picked up by Snacks. Now it's just all up to existence here to try and work 1v3, and he doesn't really have a chance into this one, so he's actually going to back up, maybe put himself in Whitehall's to see if he can get anybody on the rotate out, but Pasha is looking in that direction. He does have the op, and if, no, he's going to go back into T-spawn. Yeah. He's just going to hang out and wait, try and save his rifle for another round. But I mean, Virtus.pro picking up a 6th round here, and that time all 5 members work through the halls, go down B. They only send 1 upper, and it works. 4 men down, even though there's a 2-man stack inside the bomb site. Titan just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a decent hold off, but I mean, what are you going to do when you're outnumbered by the Virtus.plow coming on in? Virtus.pro's done a fine job of closing the gap. Existence, like you called, goes back, saves the gun. Really the best thing he can do. The economy is extremely low. Virtus.pro's money is not low at all. I mean, they could try to force up around this M4, but honestly, it's not going to do anything. If you win the round, Virtus.pro is still looking pretty good. They do choose to go ahead and force up. Look at this, FAMAS's, just to try and get another round underway. Titan has to be happy though. Looking at this, 7-6 score line so far. 1 more round, and they do have the majority of rounds on the half.
Yeah, it looks like they're going back to just a modified default now. That's going to be Snacks and Taz over there in T-Con, with Pasha and Bialy still trying to work through Ivy. Neo's just going to be holding down inside, making sure no one's able to come up the ladder fast. No one's able to get a good fast flank off from inside. He's just going to be working his way around, still hanging out, and they already do have a frag in their favor. That's Snacks who was able to pick it up, and he's worked it so well out of T-Con, getting shots that he needs, and it's really going to put a lot of trouble here, and he gets another one out through mid. He's pushed out very aggressively. Pasha and Bialy need to get out there and help him. Well, Taz is out there now, and the 2 remaining Titans players are outside. Now it's only 1 that Shocks. At the edge of that smoke, and Pasha and Bialy are going to come out around the corner. Can he get both lines both up? But Taz will mop up. And we have a tie game now, 7-7.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're standing there, you're completely isolated. You got 2 players coming down from Ivy and everybody else trailing in behind you on the other side. He gets the 2K, takes a couple of guns out of Virtus.pro's hand. They're going to have to rebuy. But the problem was Virtus.pro's economy was so well established at that point. It does no damage. In fact, you see 2 ops rolling out. Yeah. And Titan's going to go ahead and force buy yet again. Not a bad buy. They're able to get an op in Smith's hands, a couple of FAMAS's, but the problem is they don't have much utility, so they're not going to be able to delay or throw a whole lot of counter flashes once Virtus.pro starts to execute.
Yeah, and at this point, final round of the half here, you're Titan, you have to buy all that you can, do whatever you can here, and after Virtus.pro started getting this default working, they haven't looked back. I mean, they haven't been dropping rounds at all. They've been doing extremely well. Snacks out in mid with the op once again, finds an opener, and again, you're always constantly worried. And Snacks is going to run right out. He ends up getting caught by Scream this time, who was playing a little bit more aggressively off to the right-hand side of Connector, so that does even it up, makes it 4-on-4. And a good smoke comes down, but Pasha, too much. Bialy right there. Smith has to rotate to back lane, and they're all spread out here. Pasha's actually going to wrap his way all the way back around through the halls as the inside bomb site's going to get taken, and Scream and Neo are about to bump shoulders, but Scream was more than ready for him. We will have a 2-on-2 now inside.
Yeah, that kill from Scream was big. It kept Scream alive and just buys a little bit of time for the rotator to come in, making it a solid 2v2 during the retake. Taz just standing in the position, able to find one, not able to find the other. Now Pasha, 4 health. Smith goes for the defuse, 10 seconds, does not have a kit, and Pasha pushes the issue, so low on health, able to find the kill, and not bad.
Yeah, I mean, Virtus.pro came back in a huge way right there. I mean, their first round that they grabbed was round 4. After that, they had a 4-round loss. That allowed Titan to get up to the 7 rounds that they were at, and then haven't looked back. They got all their rounds in a row, 7 of them to be exact, and just didn't drop a single one. And a majority of them, actually, all but 1 were from kills. The other one was from the bomb, and that was when I believe it was Smith went to go save in T-spawn.
Yeah, I think it was Smith. Just saving the gun, walk back, hang on to the M4, A4. Here's the box scores coming up, and you see Titan early momentum right away. They won the pistol round, they won the next couple of rounds, ended up losing the first gun round. That's when Virtus.pro, it looked like the plow effect was going to start firing up, just get a couple more round wins, and that would be the end of it. Titan did a fine job though. They won the following gun round and carried just a little bit more momentum with a 4-round winning streak. But once they lost that next gun round, they could not take control back from Virtus.pro. And they kept on force buying. You notice that after around round 13, they force buy, trying to keep the economy low, trying to keep the pressure on Virtus.pro. Just didn't work. 7 and 8 on your CT half. I mean, okay, Train, slightly CT sided, sure. but you're going up against Virtus.pro. It's not a bad showing from Titan. Clearly, they would like to finish the half with a few more rounds.
Yeah. I mean, Virtus.pro came back in a big way. And the way we started this out, though, if you guys remember, I think it was round 4, Shox literally was 8-0 when we started round 4.
Yeah.
8 frags, 0 deaths, hadn't dropped at all. Titan was looking on point. I mean, given it was the pistol round that they won, and then 2 anti-ecos, but still, they weren't dropping a lot of players. They were getting enough frags, and they were just in the face of Virtus.pro. That first buy round happened, and Virtus.pro, you're like, oh, okay, they're back. They're coming back to life. And then it was 4 rounds for Titan where they just dominated it. Virtus.pro was looking lost for a few minutes.
Yeah, they absolutely were. You look at big players in this matchup, and Shox was coming up absolutely huge. We saw him doing Shox kind of things where he just jumps around, floating in various different positions, pushing different angles, and that gave Titan quite a few round wins, especially early on in the game. And it wasn't really until Pasha started firing back up and performing. You see him; he's actually number 2 on the kill board. Didn't do as hot as we might expect. 11-1 and 11. You and I were casting that one game where he dropped a 44K in a double overtime game against Conquest. Of course, I know we got a whole bunch of Conquest fans hanging out in the audience right here.
Again, the Conquest love.
The home team advantage, apparently. Well, anyway, misled. Looks like round 16, first pistol round of the second half is underway. Virtus.pro, CT side, Titan, rockin' T side. Looks like 3 going towards Ivy.
Yeah, and we're going to actually have relatively the same thing that we saw from Titan that first round where, actually, no, it's only 3 outside for Virtus.pro. Neo actually cheated his way back into the Z connector, and he's going to be a fast rotate if they need it, but Scream and Shox and his teammate with the bomb, they're all going to be working down Ivy. Pasha's going to be the initial point man. Bialdi's going to try and rotate his way over to prevent, and Snacks now the last man outside. Neo and Taz having to go on the rotate, but Titan hasn't dropped anything yet. There goes Shox and Scream, and what a play comes out from Titan, able to get that. That's actually both pistols that have just earned themselves.
2 pistol rounds in a row for Titan on train. This is Virtus.pro's home map and their own map pick. That's a big victory right there. If they can just keep the momentum, take it away from Virtus.pro. Can you imagine if Titan's able to take this map away from Virtus.pro and then move us into Cobble? That's the one map where they might have had a chance. The analysts are predicting an easy 2-0, especially with a map like Train. We have ourselves quite a matchup. This event has been the story of upsets. Can Titan do it?
Yeah, it would be huge for them to be able to pull an upset on Train. That would be very impressive. But I mean, Virtus.pro super good on CT side on this map. And again, Titan showing a little bit of control towards Ivy. 4 members going that way. They're going to try and take it to the outside bomb site. But Pasha with the Deagle will find 2 before Taz goes down. We're evened up outside. Going to be a 3-on-3, or 3-on-2 now, excuse me. RPK might even drop in this exchange. Goes down to 65, and he does get dropped by Snacks, so Shox on an island all by himself, 1v3. He does have the bomb, and he's got a lot of time to work with. And how?
Nice
he does find
spray.
1, but not enough. Snacks and Virtus.pro shows why they're one of the best teams. They pull an eco round off against Titan with just the pistols.
Yeah, that effectively cancels off that pistol round win for Titan. That's such a frustrating situation. And look at the money for Titan. You want to buy up heavily around this round, but it's just not going to happen. Low on the money. Shoxy pulling out the COD player's choice.
Wow, that's very interesting buy there, considering the rest of your team. All right, so they do get pistol armor, and he spends a lot of money in this round. You have to think, is this real life, or was this a mistake that came out from Shox?
I'm not sure exactly what Shox is thinking. I mean, Shox is capable of doing Shox things. He can come up huge, but this is a long shot play at the most. He's buying up around that 2K is what's actually happening here. So hopefully he can find some initial picks, but there's Pasha holding the tight angle at Ivy, and we got the crossfire compliments of Bialy. They've already got bomb control. They've spotted it, and it's up to Shox trying to push the issue. Smith works his way all the way up through A main, pretty close, and then goes down to the hell area. Now Shox is the only man left standing. He's got the right weapon to do it. Sprays down 1. He needs to take 3 more down. Bialy's low.
He does have the bomb in his back. He's down to 44 HP. Bialy all the way down to 1. Taz at 82. And it's going to be 3 versus 1. Shox still hanging out at Ivy. But what's interesting is Virtus.pro is just pretty much conceding ladder and anybody coming through T-Con and just hanging back in the back lanes near the bomb. And it's working out for him as only Shox is left alive now. As I said, 1v3. He does have the Krieg in his hands. He's just trying to find anything he's able to. He's got to be careful. He's got Bialy right there playing the angle. He ends up taking down Bialy. So now he worked himself into a 1 versus 2, but Neo rotates out of T-Con, hits the shot. Virtus.pro up 10-8 over Titan.
Well, very aggressive buy and maybe questionable play going on by Shocks, but it came up huge for him. He's able to take a whole bunch of Virtus.pro down, keep the money just a little bit low, and Titan at this point, no surprise, they're broke. They are going to have to double save, rolling out the Tech 9s. A little bit of utility is coming out from Shocks and Scream, and then the extra grenades coming in from the rest of the team. So they've clearly got some sort of plan of an execute. Smokes, mollies coming down onto the A site, blocking the view of Bialy. And they're not going to go ahead and execute on A. It's just a fake. Everybody falls back into upper, and they flow into B. Look at the double crossfire coming in from Taz. Taz up on top of the train, working the angle, along with Neo. The 1-2 fire team. Neo gets the spray, lots of damage. Neo finds the second kill, and all of a sudden they're able to work their way straight to the bomb.
Yeah, Shocks is going to be in a good position. No, he's not. Excuse me. Yes, he is. Wow, he's actually gonna rotate out. Doesn't have a chance. I thought he was gonna be in a great position there to try and wrap around the bomb train to try and pick up Pasha. Maybe escape with a gun, but Pasha did hear him. Was looking at it. So Shocks had a chance to get a rifle out of his hands, but didn't want to risk it. I mean, they spent a lot of money that round. Pistol armor, the whole team. They get a bomb plan out of it, so they're not horrible, but. Still, you would have liked some more frags out of that if not a rifle saved.
Here's the thing. I mean, with that huge buy by Shocks, his economy was kept extremely low. So now we're actually on a 3-save round for Team Titan. Even though they were able to show up and get a bomb plant, they get all that extra cash, they're still saving. They're still on an eco round. Shocks buys up a couple of grenades. He's got 1 smoke, 2 flashes, really nothing to get the job done. And Virtus.pro clearly on fire so far. Boom. That's the first pick. Pasha's down. Pasha's been such a high-impact player that's very, very important. But Titan might be a little too late.
And this time, it's interesting. Virtus.pro, instead of conceding the initial part of the outside bomb site, they got aggressive. Snacks and Bialy were pushed up pretty far onto the Z connector, or onto T-Con, excuse me, and no real presence at ladder, but it's working out now. Shocks, once again, last man standing, has an M4 in his hands, turns it into a 1-on-2. Taz is going to be over by Ivy. Neo's going to be at the back lane, and they're going to pick it up. Yeah. That's going to be a 2K for Snacks, and Virtus.pro is up 12-8 over Titan.
Well, as expected, it's 3 eco rounds in a row. Finally, we're going to see some real weapons coming out of Titan's hands, and it's all based on that purchase by Shocks. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe it was a misbuy. Some big balls kind of play going on. He's got a couple of kills, but it cost them multiple rounds at this point. 8-12 is your scoreline. Virtus.pro in a great position to go ahead and win the first matchup or the first map of the night.
Yeah, aggressive force buys came out from Titan, which really hurt him. Made him drop a few rounds, but now that they have guns in their hands, they got find 2 outside. Neo's going to be left in the bomb site. Pasha's back there also. Taz is going to go on the rotate through Z connector, and he's going to be all by his lonesome inside that bomb site. And he's going to end up going down, and Titan's going to win a very, very clean gun round, only dropping RPK.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, they're still in the fight. And they're going to be able to take the fight straight to Virtus.pro. Problem is Virtus.pro still rich. You see Neo pulling out the AWP, lots of utility, and they can hold this thing off for quite a while. Straight out of the gate, see where Titan goes.
So guns will still be coming up in the hands of Virtus.pro. We only have Snacks with the CZ, though. Doesn't have the best economy, and we're going to have a very fast play from Titan, trying to work their way down through ladder with Shocks and Scream. Going to be coming out through T-Con and getting shut down. Taz right there. He's got Snacks. They're playing these smokes well. They haven't allowed Titan to get in, and Taz got to push through the smoke again to find himself a 3rd frag this round. Shocks last one out there. He's got all 5 Virtus.pro players alive. They end up taking him down. Very clean round from Virtus.pro.
That's flawless. Absolutely flawless round by Virtus.pro. And pushing through smoke. Also, you saw that counter flash just completely blinding Titan, allowing Taz to take, frankly, easy kills right there. Titan extremely low on the cash, and they're going to buy up, just a broken sort of buy at this point. That makes 1 round victory, so the economy for Titan has been completely reset.
So now we're going to see basically the the same strat that we watch Virtus.pro do time and time again. 2 players going to be coming down Ivy. 1 is going to be focused there in the T-Con, and then 2, or well, at least 1 was watching the inside push. That was going to be Smiths and RPK, but both of them committed down ladder. They're both out into the site. Trades will happen. The numbers are in favor of Virtus.pro, though, as only Shocks and Scream will be left alive. Bomb down out by the dumpster at Ivy, and Scream's going to be the last one left. Pasha knows he's there. As you can see, he called it for his teammates, and yeah, Snacks is already going back to try and cut him off. Neo's going to be hanging out in the bomb site, and Snacks, he should be able to pick him Scream. Scream's not going to be ready for it. Snack gets the shot, and that is going to be 14-9 in favor of Virtus.pro. We have a timeout coming through here from Titan.
Yeah,
tactical.
That's not surprising whatsoever. I mean, they've made multiple little tiny errors, especially with the economy on their side so far. There was that one buy, it cost them 3 rounds. Score line's 9 and 14. The thing is, calling a tactical timeout at this point, it might be too little too late. We're just 2 rounds away from Virtus.pro victory on Train. Now, I understand it's a long shot at best for Titan to go ahead and take Train from them, but you got to expect something a little bit better than this. Last time the 2 teams met was over at DreamHack, and it didn't go so hot for Titan either.
And right now, Virtus.pro, ever since they started winning gun rounds, they had those 7 rounds in a row from T side of first half. They hadn't really looked back. I mean, they dropped a pistol again to Titan, but they came up in a huge eco, got 4 rounds in a row off of that, only dropped Titan's initial full buy, and that really hurt them because after that, they got 2 more in a row in favor of Virtus.pro, and now we have Titan with no cash here, trying to figure out how to prevent Virtus.pro from going to map point in round 24. And I just don't see much of what they could do. I think at this point they have to play for the tie. They have to just try and conserve their economy, maybe throw a fake somewhere, try and get the bomb down at the other bomb site, get cash rolling back in your favor so then you could try and win out from there and force overtime and see if you can get something sneaky off against Virtus.pro on arguably Virtus.pro's best map.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only option they have is the hope to force some sort of an overtime, but with such a round deficit, it seems like a long shot at best. There you see the Twitter poll. 56% are favoring Titan in this best of 3. Keep in mind, this is just map number 1 of Train. Train was picked by Virtus.pro. It is their hometown map. The next map is Cobble. It could go either way, but you heard what the analysts were predicting. They're thinking that this is probably also going to go in favor of Titan. Timeout has been ended, and let's see exactly what strats Titan has underway. They don't have the money to go ahead and buy, so you see Tech9's lots of utility and pressure at Ivy.
Yeah, Bialy just pushed up behind that box at Ivy. Shocks doesn't quite know he's there. He has to think somebody's close. Bialy's actually going to go for the peek here. Gets a ton of damage off. Can he make it 2? 1 more player to beat. Will get all 3 of the Titan players outside Ivy. And so the bomb's down. Now Virtus.pro has control of it. They've dropped Taz. It's going to be RPK and Smiths left alive outside. RPK will get 1 more. That's going to be 2 on the round for him. But look at Neo, already about to come down that ladder. He's going to be able to get out, and he's going to be able to find RPK from the side easily. And now it's just up to Smiths running around inside that A bomb site, and he's going to be trying to turn it into a one-on-one. Neo's right there in his face. Neo's got to be careful. He ends up going down. So what looked like a round that Titan was just going to get mopped up on, and they've turned this into a close one here. Bialy got to be careful. Smiths does have the op in hand. Bialy low, and now Titan gets the round somehow. Smiths will win it, gets the 1 versus 1. And just like that, Titan stole some momentum away. So after that timeout, that was exactly what Titan needed to be doing.
Smith's working some magic right there. He's got nothing but a Tech9. He's completely outnumbered and scores the victory for his team single-handedly. This makes 22 kills so far. He's plus-minus of +4, just behind Shocks. So far, Exton's not representing for his team so well. Shocks calling the strats on that timeout, working well. Now, what's interesting is the Virtus.pro economy has been reset,
the push.
so he's got nothing but P250s, Deagles. Here it is.
Good push came out, ended up getting 1, and it's going to force it into a 3-on-3 now. And we just lose Bialy now. And Titan ready for this one. They have guns up in their favor. Snacks does find himself the op, though. That could help out a lot. Let's see if he just tries to save this thing. He's up in Whitehall, got it on his back. And actually going to push his way back down. Pasha outside, working towards the train. Pasha's able to work that Deagle, gets the shot off. Here comes Snacks. They're going to be able to get in the face of the remaining Titan player, down to 14 HP. He's got to be careful. He's getting pushed up on. Snacks is going to force in his direction. Who is going to win the exchange? They're right around the corner from each other, and just like that, Snacks will get it. Virtus.pro puts themselves on map point, in round 25. And when Titan looked like they had a lot of life left, they just dropped it right there.
Yeah.
Now they have no money, so now they have to try and pull an eco again to get this round.
Yeah, again, a long shot. We are on match point, and Existence just left all alone in a 1 versus 2 clutch situation. He hasn't been showing up for his team today on train, and his crosshair was just a little bit off as he walks around the corner, losing that final engagement. Disappointing. The best they can purchase are Tech 9s and lots of utility. They were able to eco the previous round. Let's see what they can do. They're clustering up heavily around B. Virtus.pro. Neo just watching the angle, takes him down. Taz also with a 2K. Now, Scream pushes the angle. Headshot machine. Tech 9 to the face. Scream also taking him down, dropping us into a 2v2. Suddenly, the odds are even.
Yeah, we're going to be 2-on-2 here. Scream's trying to find the angle. Bialy's going to work his way around. Pasha gets the touchdown.
It's over.
So one member of Titan left alive. He's got 79 HP, body armor, 2 flashbangs, a grenade, and a P250. If he can drop his way back down, try and get around ramp, steal away a gun, but Pasha's going to be pushing up top. Pasha's going to try and find him. Pasha doesn't get it. Actually brings him down to 58. And now, remaining Titan players, last hope left. Virtus.pro trying to win map number 1, making it 16-10. Bialy's going to be watching down lower ramp. Here comes Distance. Got to work down all the way down to 4 HP. Bialy will get it, and Virtus.pro takes map number 1, 16-10. And what looked like they were struggling initially, like maybe Titan figured out what they need to be doing here against Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro just turned it on a dime and didn't look back.
Yeah, I mean, Titan, they did a fantastic job initially. Like they did a fantastic job initially picking up the pistol round. They had a decent CT side. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a great CT side on train with a 7-8 score line. You've got to be proud of yourself going up against Virtus.pro like that, but you're going to need just a few more points. It's just like if you're playing on, let's say, Mirage or maybe even Inferno. You've got the sort of CT halves. You look at that and you say, oh boy, going on T side, we've got to win the pistol round, which they did, but then we've got to carry a whole lot more momentum. Problem is, they didn't. They weren't able to string any rounds together. The only round wins were little individual one-off rounds, including an eco, which, those eco rounds, they tend to be a complete long shot. Another issue is the fact that you had so many issues where Existence was left alone in 1v2 clutch situations. He just hasn't been showing up.
Yeah, and man, a rough game came out from Titan. Virtus.pro ended up taking it, but we're going to throw it down to our analyst down there. Take it away, Scoots.
Come twice.
Thank you, gentlemen. Again, when it started, I kind of thought I was watching some old school Counter-Strike, you know. Titan wins the pistol. Virtus.pro loses the next couple, so we end up their first gun round, which is round 4, the old school style. They lose the gun round. Titan then takes the next one, but then kind of the plow digs in. 7 straight rounds.
This is the problem you've got when you play Virtus.pro on train and they're on that T side. They will always find a way to get those between 5, 8, rounds. That's where they're always at. And they do it by just getting a read on the CT setup, and then they adapt, and then they just punish you. And this is the thing. This is where perhaps Shox has shown a little bit of naivety, dare I say, in kind of being an in-game leader. The CT, they sort of needed to change things around. Once Virtus.pro got a read on them and they were getting into those sites, especially on that A-bomb site, they were just really being able to execute and get out there almost at will. And they weren't holding Ivy particularly well. So, they needed to switch things up, and they just didn't. And Virtus.pro love that. They love it. And, of course, same old story for them. Taz, once again, that he is like the king of train for them. He always posts 20 frags or above. Meanwhile, I felt that there was a few issues within Titan that really came to the forefront. RPK doesn't know this map as well as some of the others. He was absent. Existence again. Same old from him. Is he ever going to really trouble the scoreboard? Turns out not very much. And I was actually kind of expecting Scream to maybe go big here. They were sort of pushing the area of the map where Scream was populating. He did have some nice moments, but they weren't particularly strong. Again, it was actually Shox and Smiths who's played better here than we've seen him for a long time at this tournament, who had to dig deep. But in the end, normal service resumed, and it was a comfortable win for Virtus.pro.
Almost the best you could hope for if you're Titan. I mean, you got the nice start. Okay, you dropped the round, but you get the streak going. But sooner or later, VP's going to start getting on the board. You're not just going to 14-1 them. You're not going to 15-0 them. It's just not going to happen on train. And once they do get T rounds, I mean, it's almost over for most teams at that point.
Yeah, and 8-7.
They're so good on both halves. So all these rounds we're giving up on our CT half, I mean, we're not going to get 9 rounds on our T half, and they're really good on CT. One of the interesting dynamics of this map, the reason why Taz does so well scoreboard-wise and in terms of game impact, is because here's the weird logic of it. Okay, yes, he's fantastic on this map. He's a specialist at the lower inner ramp. He's always played that position in 1.6. But because Snacks is outside, they have this heavy setup outside where they love to play there. They want you to attack outside. That's where most teams in CSGO attack anyway. Well, they're so good at it, you want to go away from that, and you want to, in your brain, you think, well, Taz should be one of the weaker players on the team. Let's get the inside side. Let's attack the inside side. So as a result, you're actually funneling people all the time towards him, and then, well, what do you know? He's also one of the best in the world at that position. I mean, even if you go outside, the thing that always defined him in 1.6, and he still has in CSGO, is he just has at that one position some crazy intuitive timing on when you can flank through the ladder room. And he just gets them so often.
Yeah.
It's like the comms from outside mixed with his own read of, like, I haven't seen anyone in a little bit of time. He knows when he can push through without the guy who normally waits there, just killing you straight dead. So you had that dynamic in, and then we know that T-side's sick, but you have that on CT side. It's why so few teams can be on track.
Yeah, and it's like you said, he starts out playing the inner ramp site, but that also makes him the first rotator through connector, and he literally was shutting down outside. Like, his boys slow it down. He rolls in, like you said, takes a peek at ladder, takes a peek at bomb train.
That's what good teams do, Scott. If you can't, if you're not positionally set up to drop the bodies and get the kills, you just got to buy time. Use the terrain. And in Snacks, you've got somebody who understands that better than probably as anyone else in the game of Counter-Strike. So it just sets things up wonderfully for rotators, Taz in particular, but Pasha as well, you know. They can just come around and they're just on cleanup duty. As long as those guys don't die, that you're going to win the CT. So, I mean, that's a textbook Virtus.pro performance. If anything, score probably slightly flatters Titan because they got off to that really good start.
Yeah, Titan really never was going to win this game. Like, as soon as I saw VP start to get the T rounds and then start to make a streak going, I was like, Titan's in a lot of trouble here. Unless they've got something fantastic on T-set they come up with overnight, this isn't going to be a win for them. So, unfortunately, I don't think Titan can even feel like, well, we were in that game, we're in the series. They now have to feel like we better be amazing on Cobble. Because otherwise VP's going to do the same thing to you there. And they're going to get T-rounds there, and they're going to win the series 2-0.
And I think that's where the big question mark comes in. Once again, this is a team that's kind of, they're evolving on the fly. You can see them developing in this tournament from day 1 to day 2. Sure. You can see the strides they've made. But now they're up against elite level opposition on maps where they're capable of beating anybody. So Cobble, what have they done overnight? Because yesterday they were okay on it, but you're going to have to be better than okay to beat Virtus.pro. So what have they changed overnight? Their T-side needs a lot of work.
Well, we're going to talk about Cobble. When we come back, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Players are kind of getting reset for map 2. When we come back, we'll talk about Cobble. We'll see if Virtus.pro can close this out or if Titan can tie it up. Back in a minute.